This is a review of adjective clauses. We just talked about that an adjective clause modifies a noun and it will come directly after the noun that it modifies or describes. Adjective clauses are introduced with something called a relative pronoun. Relative pronouns are that, which, who, whom, or whose. You can also use when and where when you're modifying times and places. In some situations, we can omit the relative pronoun, and that means to leave it out. Let's look at a few short examples, short dialogues, and talk about what relative pronoun can be used, if any, and why. Okay, so in dialogue number one, person A says, "Hi, sorry to call you at work, but the living room lights won't turn on." Person B says, "Could you go check the fuse box? It's that gray metal box." Okay, so here we're describing a box, and your possible answer choices are that, which, or nothing. So you can say, "It's that gray metal box that we have in the garage," that gray metal box which we have in the garage, or you can say the gray metal box we have in the garage. So the reason that you can omit the relative pronoun here is because in the adjective clause describing where that box is, you have a subject, we, subject pronoun, and a verb, have. In this case, you do not need to have another relative pronoun. If you use that or which because you're describing a thing, again, you're describing the gray metal box, then you can use that or which to describe a thing. Dialogue number two. "Do you know where our rental agreement is?" Person B says, "Yes, it's in the desk, in the folder," and then here we're modifying the folder. Okay, so it's a thing. So with things, you can use that or which. But the adjective clause has only a verb, not a pronoun and a verb. So this one is not an option for us, okay, because we have to have a relative pronoun or a pronoun in the adjective clause because a clause has a subject and a verb. So where is the rental agreement? It's in the desk in the folder that is labeled lease or which is labeled lease. Can't use who or whom because they are for people. Can't use whose because that comes before a noun. And we have to have one. We have to have something that can't be omitted because we only have a verb. Okay. Dialogue number three. Person A says, "The key broke off in the lock. I'm not sure what to do." Person B says, "We need to call a locksmith." That's a person. So here's our clue. We're modifying a person. And in this case, a person that makes and repairs locks or who. These are our only choices, again, because we only have a verb and an adjective clause requires a subject and a verb. So who can function as the subject of the adjective clause, or that can, the relative pronouns. Number four, "It's raining really hard, and now we have some water on the ceiling. We need someone to look at the roof." Person B says, "We have a neighbor," and then here's the adjective clause. Father is a roofer. Father is a noun. It is not a pronoun. Here's my verb, so subject and verb. In this case, the only option is whose, because whose will always come directly before a noun. Okay, so we have a neighbor whose father is a roofer. Let's ask him for advice. Again, I can't use that father because father is not a pronoun. I can't use which because it's not a thing, and so on. Okay. Number five, "Could you give me the name and number of the painter?" So we're going to modify the painter. What painter? It can be the painter that you recommended, who you recommended, whom you recommended, or nothing. So why can it be any of those things? Well, here's my adjective clause is you recommended, and it has a subject and a verb. I'm describing a person, so I can use that you recommended, who, and here is the pronoun you. When I have a pronoun in the adjective clause, I can also use whom, because this makes it the object adjective clause, not a subject. I'm sorry, an object relative pronoun, not a subject relative pronoun. And again, I can leave that off because in my clause, I have a subject and a verb. Hope this helps.